The extreme left has dominated the United States, and the counteroffensive of the extreme right might just be around the corner. What up? Shout out to everyone who supported our last video, and of course the donations. And to our girl Dorothy, who continuously sends us cash. This time, she dropped a fat stack directly to our account.
Fat stacks, cash money.
Girl, we appreciate you and we love you and we love your support. I also need to give a special shout out to those philosophy scholars in the comments who schooled us on a few things. We really appreciate this. And anyone with more accurate knowledge on the topics that we discuss, don't hesitate to drop a comment down below and share what you know, civilly of course. So we've been talking about how the American Cultural Revolution has already kicked off, and some people responded with, "Chill, it's all peace, bro. You're overreacting. 你想太多了吧?"
Fellas, we all just have to stay cool, okay?
Really? Is there such a thing as 想太多吗? Well, on this episode, we're going to show you the brutal truth and reveal a potentially ingenious plan of the extreme left. And after watching, you just might figure out why Biden is pardoning student loan debt and why Trump signed a series of federal education bills back in 2017. We also hope that you'll begin to clearly see what is going on in the United States, the real agenda behind the news, and ultimately how a group of Germans from 100 years ago are directly affecting the life you are living right now. And we've divided this shit into 3 parts, just for you. In our last video, we touched a bit on postmodernism and social constructionism. Now, early on, these isms were merely a series of concepts and theories without any real form of implementation. But in 1923, at the University of Frankfurt, something pivotal happened. A group of sociological scholars concluded that the Marxist theory of uniting workers to incite revolution was futile, and that uniting students with radical beliefs, outcast from society, and abandoned ethnic groups was the key. And thus, critical theory was born.
It has begun!
With the purpose of criticizing capitalism and its cost to society, the ideas and concepts within are what birthed neo-Marxism and varied forms of feminism. And over a 30-year period of maturity, this thinking made its way to the United States under the broader framework of the New Left. Now, this is just a very basic timeline. And before we move forward, I need to make a few things clear. We are not scholars or professionals in these fields, nor are we Trump or Biden supporters. We're just 2 niggas trying to connect some very convoluted dots with the purpose of helping people to make sense of what is happening and what could happen.
La 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 la, connect the dots. La 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 la.
Alright, moving on. So the New Left has a very clever way to start a revolution. They know exactly who to target, featuring trendy, fashionable, avant-garde postmodernist packaging. Coming to you live and direct with a healthy side of social constructionism and tasty muskism for dessert. A complete A1 3-course meal to whet your appetite for a cultural revolution.
Yeah, it's really good.
Delicious.
Now, from 1960 to the mid-1970s, under the backdrop of the Vietnam War, sprung a group of free-thinking anti-war youths, known as hippies. Now, some of you thought that they disappeared long ago, but I assure you they are alive and strong even today.
Touch this clay.
La la.
Do you feel that? The power?
Now, after the failed disasters that were the Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis, many young free-thinking people began to wonder, why does our country love invading niggas so much? Why is capitalism causing the downfall of our society? Enter in the New Left and the philosophies we previously mentioned. And the most vulnerable place for this to spread? The educational department of every major American college campus, which is where many anti-war protesters fled to, because it happened to be the most lenient field of study at the time. So the very department which shapes generations of youth on society became a breeding ground for the New Left, creating the perfect storm in America. Now, around the same time, our protagonist of this episode will be born, and 50 years later, his proverbial boat would find itself right in the path of the shitstorm that would overtake American society. Now, there are already people beginning to fight against extreme leftists and extreme PC culture, who all coincidentally are also on the left. Alan Sokol, Peter Prigozhin, and this episode's protagonist, Nicholas Christakis. In short, this guy is one badass motherfucker hacker, bordering on genius, yo. Born in 1962 to a nuclear physicist and a chemist amidst the beginning of the perfect storm we mentioned earlier, Nicholas Christakis holds a Yale PhD in biology, 2 Harvard medical degrees, and a PhD in sociology. This guy has written over 200 peer-reviewed papers and studies assessing the influences of social networks and how they can actually predict epidemics, and also how sociology and biomedical science can co-opt through social learning to improve physical and mental health. One could argue that if applied to business, politics, and even the military, these methods could be one of the most revolutionary scientific implications in modern times. And it even has a name: computational social science.
Yes, science!
Nicholas's TED Talk is a must-watch. In addition, he was also named amongst Time magazine's top 100 most influential thinkers, as well as Foreign Policy magazine's top global thinkers. This guy's work has influenced even me and you, yo. Which brings us to today's video. So, why are all of these people gathered here? Well, back in 2015, there was a bit of a controversy at Yale, to say the least. Yale's Simlin College is the largest residential college in America where students and faculty live on campus as a community. In 2015, Professor Nicholas Christakis served as the Master and Sterling Professor of Social and Natural Sciences. Real talk, the title of Sterling Professor is the highest academic title at Yale, and they only award it to someone who is considered the best in their field. So why is Nicholas getting surrounded and yelled at by his students? Well, it was actually his idea, and it's all because of one word: Halloween. You see, a few weeks before Halloween, the Intercultural Affairs Committee at Yale sent out an email to staff and students advising them to choose their Halloween costumes carefully as not to offend anyone. They even sent a link with examples of sexist, culturally insensitive, and racist costumes that are not acceptable. Now, in reply, Nicholas's wife, who is the co-master at Yale and also teaches childhood development, decided to respond to the email with a suggestion. I wonder, and I'm not trying to be provocative, is there no room anymore for a child or young person to be a little bit obnoxious, a little bit inappropriate or provocative, or yes, offensive? American universities were once a safe space not only for maturation, but also for a certain regressive or even transgressive experience. Increasingly, it seems they have become places of censure and prohibition, and the censure and prohibition come from above, not from yourselves. Are we all okay with the transfer of power? Have we lost faith in young people's capacity, in your capacity to exercise self-censure through social norming, and also in your capacity to ignore or reject things that trouble you? So basically, she was defending the students' right to freedom of expression and to decide for themselves what should be appropriate. And her husband, Nicholas, voiced his support as well. But what happened next was very unexpected. The students turned on her and Nicholas and accused them of enabling racist and culturally insensitive behavior and not creating a safe space at the university. And the students even got together and signed a petition for Erica and Nick to be punished. So soon after, Nick, being a Sterling Professor of Science and Sociology, decided to do what he knew best: hold an open discussion and find out what the students were thinking, how they were offended, and try to solve the problem. And this gathering was the result. Now, Nick tries his best to accommodate the students' demands, and I have to say, this dude's got balls to hold this discussion by himself while being completely surrounded. And when he opens for the first person to speak, watch what happens.
I won't finish. I was going to tell you about the events we were planning, but she had her hand raised. And
yeah. Sorry, what's my name first?
See, now this is the thing. So I have 500 students.
No. But here's the thing: was that wait a second. What do you mean? Not everyone yell. I was in your class my freshman year and attended all of your office hours. You were my sophomore year advisor. I am currently the Silliman Activities Council co-president. I live here. I eat in the dining hall for all 3 meals, and you should know my name.
Yes, I should.
My name is Michaela.
Yes,
you
Michaela.
have called me other names. People have called me Geraldine. People have called me Malika. People have called me Nina.
But now I've learned Geraldine and I've learned Malika. And I've learned. Thank you. I have 500 names to learn. I have 500 names to learn. And if you'd like to see this as a personal offense, my difficulty in learning names, you can.
I do see it as okay, but I have a point because.
But Michaela, you have to understand, it has nothing to do with your race. My difficulty in learning your name.
Wait, so out of 500 students, this guy doesn't remember her name and somehow that makes him a racist?
What? I'm the least racist person.
I assume she's attacking him from the angle of, oh, you think all of us black people look alike, so you can't distinguish, right? White man, word. Well, in that case, I guess he'd have a really difficult time remembering his sister's name as well. You see, not only is Nicholas Christakis Greek, with English as his second language, but his sister is black and his brother is Taiwanese, yo! Through adoption, of course. So why doesn't the professor remember this student's name?
One of my limitations as a person, which I always had, was I wasn't very good with memorizing names, and it's got nothing to do with race, Michaela. I think this conversation in its intensity will really seal it. And I hope in my prior interactions with you, I've never treated with you with any disrespect.
And you haven't. I was just about to say, in this class that I took with you, you showed scientific studies about how racism affects the black body in its physiological form. Yes. So I'm saying these studies that you have cited, that you seem to not care about, that you and your wife seem to have kind of dismissed in the course of events of the past couple weeks. You've gone to discussions with students, but largely have not listened to us. That has been my biggest reaction from this email, is that you're not listening. You're hearing us say things, and both of you have gotten incredibly defensive. You're retweeting things saying Obama thinks we're coddling the American mind, and you retweet it from the Silliman account as if that I want that information to be associated with me.
Wait, so in spite of the fact that Nicholas not only has problems remembering names, but that he also presented scientific evidence as a scientist that shows racism actually affects the human body, the student thinks that his support for his wife's defense of the student's freedom of expression is somehow racist? Now you might also be wondering, why are these students snapping?
What? I do not understand.
Well, what little research I found uncovered articles purporting that students have claimed the sound of clapping is triggering for some students suffering from anxiety, and that snapping is a better form of approval from the audience. But one article had a different take on the snapping. People now say things just because they get snaps. Snapping encourages us to say things that please others, not to say things that are innovative or unique, not to say things that push the boundaries or even make sense. Snapping is just another feature of a culture in which we do not listen to the person who is speaking, but we listen to the audience. It encourages those who have initially unpopular ideas like this one to keep silent.
Interesting.
So what do you guys think about that? Leave a comment down below. Now in this next segment, the student is going to express her need for an apology. And remember what I said in the Bogosian video? Give someone an inch and they'll take a mile.
Because I feel that in your role as master and associate master, after sending that email and after not having an appropriate response, that our opinion has been dismissed. That you guys have not said, I hear you, I hear that you are hurting, and I am sorry that I have caused you to feel pain. I have not heard that from you, and I've not heard that from your wife. And that is what I want to hear. I don't want to hear any more defensive terms, because it's not fair to us.
I'll just say that it's interesting to me that even though we had all that time together and you took the class with me, you still didn't form. I'm speaking. Okay, I don't want to look away from her. Just talk louder. I'm doing my best, everyone. I'm doing my best. Okay? So I'm trying to address her directly and as a human being face to face. And I don't want to turn my back to her, and I don't want to yell at her on this car if I raise my voice so you can hear me. So please stop misjudging anything I do, okay? All right. So what I wanted to tell you, Michaela, is that you have spent time with me. You've been in class with me. You had all those experiences that you described. And what's amazing to me is despite all of that, you weren't able to form an opinion of me as a human being and what my beliefs are, and to see the extent to which they're in agreement with your beliefs.
So the professor has made it clear that he believes they are on the same side, and that he and his wife's response to the email was to defend their right to have a voice. This was the inch. And now another student is about to step in and try to take that goddamn mile.
Can I say something? Can I just interject really quickly? The moral of Michaela's comment is now the moral of the story is that she wants an apology, yet you respond not with an apology. Are you going to address the heart of her comment? That's all I want. Are you going to give an apology? Are you going to say that you're hearing us? Are you going to then go to the lengths that she wants you to go to, which to me don't seem very far, but are you going to provide that or are you not going to provide that?
I have to think about this idea for a moment. So
the idea of apologizing.
Yes, because let me ask you this. If I asked you to apologize right now for delaying me from all my other obligations to other students,
Okay, my question is, let's say I was talking.
I'm just saying, the fact that you asked for an apology doesn't mean that the other person, instantly has to say yes.
Okay, so
the person has to think about what it is that you're asking for.
Okay, my question. Okay, if I'm in the courtyard playing games, right, and I'm kicking around a soccer ball, you happen to be walking in the path. I kick the soccer ball, I break your nose, right? Isn't it? You are experiencing pain right now, physical pain. I need to apologize because I have caused you pain. That doesn't matter if
That's
I
a
feel
good
like
argument.
I need you.
That's a
Okay,
good
so
argument.
okay. So that's the thing. My major question then to your question is what is the role of an apology, right? An apology is in order when someone has been hurt, whether you inflicted that pain accidentally or on purpose, right? It shouldn't be a question as to whether you owe us an apology. Regardless of whether you hold similar views or whether you intended to or whether like I didn't mean it or like whether I'm sorry, I misspoke, I like misworded the email, that is irrelevant. What we want now is a response and a moving forward, not, oh, I meant this, no, oh, like, I don't think you understand me. Like, okay, it doesn't matter if I understand you.
Uh-oh, here we go again. It doesn't matter if they understand you, it only matters that you apologize for what they think you did wrong. Sound familiar? So the professor's patience and visual eagerness to engage with the students is actually quite remarkable in my opinion. It's almost like he is trying to encourage the students to think critically but in an indirect way. Because watch what happens next with his response to her statement.
The net effect
it doesn't
is
matter
this.
if you understand me?
Well,
You had me until there.
All right, okay, fine.
You had me really until
we can
there.
just cut that out.
Okay, wait.
See, then I just made a mistake, and I'm sorry for saying that. It doesn't matter. And like, that's all we're asking from
First of all, what's your name?
Lisa. And I've had dinner with you.
Good.
I've seen you around, and I'm glad we can meet again.
Okay, so I think what I heard you said is that whether we meant it or not, and regardless of what we said, it hurt, I don't want this to come across as the wrong way, but it hurt your feelings and many people's feelings.
Okay,
but feelings, you can argue the word. I don't want to offend you by suggesting the wrong word. I know it's more than your feelings, okay? I understand. So what we said, whether we intended it or not, and regardless of its content, hurt your feelings. And you would like me to apologize for hurting your feelings. Is that right?
It's content. Yes, I still think that the phrase hurt feelings
Okay, tell me the phrase you want me to use, I'll use it.
I don't know, was an expression of racism.
I won't agree the statement was racist. I won't agree the statement was racist. I know it's deeper than that.
So then apologize!
I want to make sure.
I understand, like, what is the issue?
Can I say, I'm sorry, you're going to say that you have to...
And here is the mile they're trying to take. Hurt feelings isn't accurate enough. The terror alert needs to be raised to level racism. Well, in the end, he did concede and he did apologize. But even then, that wasn't enough. They kept going and even attacking his facial expressions and even asking him why he cares so much.
What is so hard for you to say those words? What is holding you back from that? Like, I don't understand. Do you need to know what you're apologizing for? Is that what your inherent discomfort with saying these words is? Is it that you're losing face? Is that you're losing ground? Is it that, like, your authority is less than? So then I don't understand why we're still standing here and having this one-on-one conversation right now. So then what's the problem? Let me know the problem.
First of all, I would like to apologize for hurting your feelings, genuinely.
Okay.
And you allowed me to use that expression without it being seen as trivializing your experience.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean that. And I also, having apologized for hurting your feelings, in addition, I will acknowledge that that comes from a very deep and legitimate source of complaint.
I'm a sociology major. I'm probably going to take a class with you.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
No, I need you to not hug me right now. I need you to know. I was very close and I was shaking your hand, but I need you to understand the situation right now does not require you to smile. Okay?
Well, but listen, you're surveilling, like I said at the beginning, I could misstep in any way. I could look. I have, of course I have, because their standards are constantly shifting. If I look at a person in the eye, I'm not looking at them.
No, the whole situation.
Okay, if I smile, it's seeming like I'm dismissing. So I'm trying. No, I want you to own the fact, all of you, to own the fact that it's very easy to take something I say and misinterpret it.
The only apology that I would like to see is like to Solomon students. Solomon students need to hear from you that you're sorry. That
I am sorry that I hurt your feelings. And again, using the word hurt your feelings without trivializing it, okay? So unless someone gives me a different word so that...
Why do you care so much?
I'm apologizing again. She says to me...
I don't want to use the word pain.
No, pain. I'm sorry I caused you pain. Yes, I'm willing to say that too. Yes, thank you.
What you did was create space for violence to happen.
That I disagree with. I disagree.
It's not a debate.
So in the final blow, as the crowd starts to fan out, one more student steps in to get a piece of him. And listen carefully to what she says.
Walk away. It doesn't deserve to be listened to. An unsafe space here for all students. Be quiet. For all Solomon students. You understand that? As your position as master, it is your job to create a place of comfort and home for the students that live in Solomon. You have not done that. By sending out that email, that goes against your position as master. Do you understand that? Then
no, I don't agree with that.
Then why the fuck did you accept the position?
Because I have
hired you?
you!
I have a different
You
vision
should
than you.
step down! If that is what you think about being ambassador, you should step down! It is not about creating an intellectual space!
It is not about creating an intellectual space. Wait, aren't they attending an intellectual institution?
Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb? Huh?
Now, it's actually quite amazing that the professor put so much effort into trying to hear the students out and try to understand where they're coming from. Now, after this incident, due to Nicholas Christakis' high-level position and seniority, he eventually transferred to another campus. However, his wife quit teaching altogether. So now are you beginning to see the similarities between the Chinese cultural and the American cultural revolution? If a person dares to be different from another group because of his speech, values, and ideas, regardless of his contributions to society, he may be attacked, shamed, humiliated, and ostracized by others. Hop back to our XQC video where we expressed different values and motherfuckers came with racial attacks, personal attacks, harassment, and even requests to have the video removed citing hate speech. And of course, an apology was demanded. Professor Christakis was humiliated and attacked despite the logic of his thoughts. And in the end, he had to apologize for his beliefs. And the way things are headed, perhaps even you will have to apologize for your beliefs. Now, some of you in the comments have been suggesting that the Taiwanese cultural revolution has already begun, where others might retort, no, it's just more politically correct. You just need to be careful what you say, You need to consider other people's feelings and don't say things that shouldn't be said. And I can agree with some of that. Believe it or not, I'm actually pro-PC, yo, within reason. I think all people should be respected and not verbally abused in the name of free speech. I mean, I would prefer you use my name rather than my skin color to identify me, just like I would prefer you to use his name rather than his short legs and his big ass head to identify him. It's just basic human respect. But there's a thin line between respect and abusive language to obtain power. And this is where many underestimate the new left, because their intent is to force people to censor, to control your speech, which in turn could control your thoughts. And that is only the half of it. They're even trying to change the very way you speak. And this has already begun to happen in Canada, giving birth to the counter movement spearheaded by none other than Jordan B. Peterson.
Well, as you can see, the opponents of free speech are capable of making a lot of inarticulate noise.
So now do you see why Trump signed those education bills when he first took office and why Biden is currently forgiving student loan debt? If you still don't get it, don't worry, we'll explain in detail in the episodes to come. Everything you've seen up until this point is just a prequel to the perfect storm. And believe me, this shit is more than a river of blood, it's a goddamn ocean. Aquaman. Now, in the upcoming episodes, we're going to reveal to you the means that the new left has used to occupy the entire American education system in just 20 years, influencing much of the Western world, including Taiwan, and of course, the controversial man that some consider a legend, while Hollywood actually based a movie villain on him, which will be released in 2 weeks. This is how powerful and threatening the extreme left sees this guy. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the flip side. Peace!